ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मृतं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to our ISKCON official YouTube channel. Today I am going to discuss chapter 6 of Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila. A summary of this sixth chapter is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrit Prabha Bhasya as follows. Once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered the temple of Jagannath, he immediately fainted. The same Jagannath? Same Jagannath. Sarvam Bhattacharya then took him to his homes. Meanwhile, Gopinath Acharya, the brother-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, met Mukunda Datta and talked to him about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's acceptance of sannyas and his journey to Jagannath Puri. After hearing about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's fainting and his being carried to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, people crowded there to see the Lord. Sri Nityananda Prabhu and other devotees then visited the Jagannath temple, and when they came back to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to external consciousness. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya received everyone and distributed Mahaprasadam with great care. The Bhattacharya then became acquainted with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and arranged accommodation at his aunt's house. His brother-in-law Gopinath Acharya established that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Krishna himself, but Sarvabhauma and his many disciples wouldn't accept this. However, Gopinath Acharya convinced Sarvabhauma that no one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead without being favored by him. He proved by Shastri quotations from the revealed scriptures that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Krishna himself in person. Still, Sarvabhauma didn't take these statements very seriously. Hearing all these arguments, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told his devotees that Sarvabhauma was his spiritual master and that whatever he said out of affection was for everyone's benefit. When Sarvabhauma met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he asked him to hear Vedanta philosophy from him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted this proposal, and for 7 days he continually had Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya explain the Vedanta Sutra. However, the Lord remained very silent. Because of his silence, Bhattacharya asked him whether he was understanding the Vedanta philosophy, and the Lord replied, Sir, I can understand Vedanta philosophy very clearly, but I cannot understand your explanations. This was then a discussion. There was a discussion between the Bhattacharya and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu concerning the authority of the Vedic scriptures. Specifically, the Upanishads and Vedanta Sutra, the Bhattacharya was an impersonalist, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proved that the absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He proved that the conception of the Mayavadi philosophers concerning the impersonal absolute truth are incorrect. The absolute truth is neither impersonal nor without power. The greatest mistake made by the Mayavadi philosophers in conceiving the absolute truth to be impersonal and without energy. In all the Vedas, the unlimited energies of the absolute truth have been accepted. It is also accepted that the absolute truth is eternal and transcendental, blissful, and eternal form. According to the Vedas, the Lord and the living entity are equal in quality and indifferent in quantity. The real philosophy of the absolute truth states that the Lord and his creation are inconceivably and simultaneously one and different. The conclusion is that the Mayavadi philosophers are actually atheists. There was much discussion on this issue between Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but despite all his endeavors, Bhattacharya was defeated in the end. All at the request of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then explained the Atmaraman verse of Srimad Bhagavatam in 18 different ways. When the Bhattacharya came to his senses, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu disclosed his real identity. The Bhattacharya then recited 100 verses in praise of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and offered his obeisances. After this, Gopinath Acharya and all the others, having seen the wonderful potencies of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, became very joyful. One morning after this incident, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu received some prasadam from Jagannath and offered it to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Without caring for formality, the Bhattacharya immediately partook of the Mahaprasad. On another day, when the Bhattacharya asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the best way to worship and meditate, the Lord advised him to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. On another day, the Bhattacharya wanted to change the reading of the Tatyanugampa verse because he didn't like the word Muktipadaya. He wanted to substitute the word Bhakti Pade. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised Sri Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya not to change the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam because Mukti Pade indicated the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Having become a pure devotee, the Bhattacharya said, because the meaning is hazy, I still prefer Bhakti Pade. At this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the other inhabitants of Jagannath Puri became very pleased. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya thus became a pure Vaishnava, and the other learned scholars there followed him. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is the priest of the then king, Prataparadadev. So, I am going to explain some of the verses. I will read some of the verses. Verse 83. ईश्वरेर कृपाले स हयत जहारे सहित ईश्वर तत्व बुझिवर पारे. The Acharya, that is Gopinath Acharya, continued, if one receives but a tiny bit of the Lord's favor by dint of devotional service, he can understand the nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was not able to understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Lord, Supreme Lord himself. But Gopinath Acharya convinced him that he is the Lord. So he said this verse. So verse 89. आचार्य कहे वस्तु विषय है वस्तु ज्ञान वस्तु तत्व ज्ञान है कृपा कृपादि प्रमाण. Gopinath Acharya replied, knowledge of the Samam Banan and the absolute truth is evidence of the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So verse 99. कलि जुगे लीलावतार ना कर भगवान अतएव त्रिजुग करी कही तार नाम. In this age of Kali, there is no Leela avatar of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, therefore he is known as Trijuga. That is one of his holy names, Trijuga. So 112. Sorry. Acharya Bhaginipati Shalaka Bhattacharya Ninda Stuti Hasya Sikya Karana Acharya. Gopinath was in love Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, therefore their relationship was very sweet and intimate. Under the circumstances, Gopinath Acharya taught him by sometimes blaspheming him, sometimes praising him, and sometimes laughing at him. This had been going on for some time. In Odia it is called Sadabhinai. That is, the joke is going on in this way. So 123. सात दिन पर्यंत इच्छे कर्ण श्रवणे भाल मंद नहीं कहे बसी मात्र सुने. This for 7 days continually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu listened to the Vedanta philosophy expounded by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't say anything and didn't indicate whether it was right or wrong. He simply sat there and listened to the Bhattacharya. 130. प्रभु कहे सूत्र अर्थ बुझिए निर्मल तुम्हार व्याख्या सुनी मन है तो विकल. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then revealed his mind, saying, I can understand the meaning of each sutra very clearly, but your explanations have simply agitated my mind. So verse 131. सूत्रेर अर्थ भाष्य कहे प्रकाश्या तुम्हें भाष्य कह सूत्रेर अर्थ आचार्य. The meaning of the aphorisms in the Vedanta Sutra contain clear purports in themselves, but other purports you presented simply covered the meaning of the sutra like a cloud. Verse 132. Sutrera mukhya artha na kara vyakhyana kalpana artha tumi taha kara achadana. You do not explain the direct meaning of the Brahma Sutras. Indeed, it appears that your business is to cover the real meaning. The verse 133. उपनिषद शब्द जयी मुख्य अर्थ कह सही अर्थ मुख्य व्यास सूत्रे सब कह. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, the Vedanta Sutra is the summary of all the Upanishads. Therefore, whatever direct meaning is there in the Upanishads is also recorded in the Vedanta Sutra or Vyasa Sutra. So 134. So actually, there is a long this chapter. So I will continue it in part 2. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Please don't forget to subscribe, share, and like our channel and get blessed. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.